Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Grixis Control in Legacy, and this is at the request of Sam on Patreon. Remember, if you want me to play your deck, check out the Patreon. There's also a channel Discord. We talk about Magic all the time. Come hang out. So Sam, I think it might be the last holdout of Grixis Control on the Earth. I've played this deck for Sam a few times. I'm happy to revisit it. The problem with Grixis Control in the metagame currently, and the last time I played it, and we'll see if it comes up today, is primarily Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. That card, you'll notice that we're playing two main deck Cling to Dust, which is a pretty medium card, and it's okay. It's not embarrassing, but it's not a card I'd want in my main deck most of the time. But we're playing two of them because we have to answer Uro. And there's no other way to exile that card. There's no good way to answer that card. Land drops matter against Grixis Control. Cards matter against Grixis Control. The primary removal spell of Grixis, the weapon that Grixis has that the other blue decks don't, is discard spells, and you can't effectively take Uro with a discard spell. So Uro is a big problem for Grixis. But we are playing the Klings, and Blue-Red Delver is extremely hot right now. That is the #1 deck in Legacy by a lot. And we do have a mix of cheap removal, cheap interaction, 4 Baleful Strix, got Fatal Push, Inquisition, Lightning Bolt. Sudden Edict is the one significant upgrade that this deck got out of Modern Horizons 2. I guess we could play some like Dothy Voidwalkers in the sideboard if we wanted to, though I don't think that's where the deck wants to be. But here we are. Sudden Edict. There's one in the main, and that's the only new card that we're playing for Modern Horizons 2. Hull Breacher is a new development, though. This does check the card advantage of Uro. It checks the card advantage of Icefang Coatl and other such incidental threats that are problems for Grixis Control. Hymn to Turok can always steal a game. Jace the Mind Sculptor, extremely powerful in these blue mirrors. So Jace does outgrind Uro a lot of the time. So we do have that. We could just go bigger. And against those Delver decks, circling back, I started a thought, didn't finish it. We do have a bunch of removal, a bunch of ways to line up against Delver. Pyroblast coming in out of the board, Hydroblast as well. And we at least have that part of the metagame. We have a game plan for that. And there are other decks out there too. It's not like Legacy is literally just Uros and Delvers. We could play against Reanimator, we could play against 12 Post, Death and Taxes. All of these are still decks that exist. So Grixis Control was the default best deck of 2019 before War of the Spark happened, and then Throne of Eldraine happened, and then everything changed. So this deck does have chops, it does have Legacy history, and it has a tool for everything. It's just if you can get it to line up right. So let's get into these games and see if Grixis Control can hang in the current metagame. On the play, in round number 1, I'm going to keep this hand. I have 2 Brainstorms, 2 lands, and a Force of Will against an unknown opponent. Might as well settle in for the long game, because that's what Grixis does. Just going to land go to kick this thing off. My opponent is being friendly in the chat. They are a watcher of the channel and also a subscriber on Patreon. And I thank them for both of those things. I'm going to force this. Jace is not going to help me, and if they get Allosaurus Shepherd around... Alright, now I feel stupid for forcing that, but it's fine. So, they are being very friendly in the chat, but I don't have time to chat right now, because I'm playing Grixis Control. And I'm going to need every second. Alright, so another force is fine. I really want to land. This Snapcaster Mage... Alright, I want the land more than I want Force of Will. Like land, if I push, snap push, that covers a lot of ground in this matchup. Another Nettle Sentinel. I'd really like to Fatal Push something like Wirewood Symbiote or Heritage Druid. Something juicy. There we go. And I am going to push the symbiote. I could have responded and pushed the sentinel, but that's not where I want to be. No, I 100% meant to get Underground Sea with that. I was thinking Underground Sea and then just clicked on the Badlands. So, whoops. How important could that possibly be? The answer is extremely, just in case you were interested in the response. All right, so I'm wondering if I should have kept that K command that I shuffled away. Like, I felt like I was miles away from doing that when I had it in my hand a second ago, but now it feels like the best thing I could be doing. So, to be determined. Unfortunately, Nettle Sentinel incentivizes you to attack before you play spells, so I'm unlikely to get a 2-for-1 off of Snapcaster Mage, block, and push something else. At least this turn. Like, I could Snapcaster, block, and just cast Brainstorm, but I think the push, having more selection, is a big deal. I'm going to let them have this glimpse. I can respond to the next creature, if it's one that I need to worry about. Alright, so if I push right now, then that denies Cradle as a good draw. I'm going to get Underground Sea and cast Fatal Push on the Nettle Sentinel. Snapcaster, Fatal Push. Take out the Sentinel before Symbiote can pick it up. This stops them from chaining elves together. Like, if they have a Birchlure Ranger in their hand, they just get to dump their whole hand if I don't do this. This matchup is horrific, by the way. If I haven't said that out loud yet, the game 1 is extremely difficult to win. And game 2, it's frequently Plague Engineer or bust. My opponent just said this is their only their second league they've ever played with this deck, and that's good because I need all the help I can get, as I was just saying. So I'm going to cast Strix, leaving up the... I have as many Lightning Bolts as I have Fatal Pushes left in the deck, but I have Thoughtseize and Inquisition as well. So I'm going to leave up the Underground Sea, because that casts Brainstorm or a black spell I might draw. I'll Brainstorm before I play my land. Yeah, this is why I did this in the main phase. This is kind of awkward, though. Do I get rid of a Brainstorm to be able to him over 2 turns? I think it's probably worth doing. Like, I can him, then... Or I can Inquisition, then him, and have their hand close to nothing. Alright, there's a Hoof and a Natural Order over there. Heritage Druid doesn't do it, is a long way from doing anything, so I'm going to take the Quirion Ranger, then attack. Yeah, giving up on a Brainstorm is rough, but we are playing against a combo deck, and we can't forget that. They played their Heritage Druid and a land, so I know that... Motobug, pay it off. I know that this is going to hit everything. Ooh, I can actually attack with Snapcaster Mage first. And if they block and pick up Heritage Druid, that's a damage saving technique that elves can do. But if they do that, they might lose the Heritage Druid, which I'm slightly more worried about. Alright, get him Hellbent. Okay, here we go. I'm saving the Brainstorm. I'm not going to Brainstorm with an empty hand. Here comes the beats. I'm winning this damage race. And another Heritage Druid. Okay. They can't cast Natural Order even if they draw it. That's funny. That is not a great card, but it's not a bad card either. It does remove material from the board. Alright, so they can pick this up. Now they're doing the thing. I'm just going to hit them with this right now. Anything that takes anything off the board is good for me. Alright, so I am... They absorb 2 damage there, but I am still winning this race. I'm in an 11-turn clock. They're on a 5-turn clock. And I have Brainstorm in my deck, and they don't. Things that I'm scared of include Green Sun Zenith for Elvish Visionary. Because if they get Visionary looping with Wirewood Symbiote, they can pull ahead pretty quickly. Oh no, they're tapping 3 mana. It's exactly the thing I said. I should stop talking out loud, because it always happens. So I need Brainstorm to do some work here. To find removal for this Symbiote. I definitely don't need that. Let's go. How about something like Kolagun's Command? Jace the Mind Sculptor, huh? I don't hate that card. Alright, so here's Jace. And I am going to Brainstorm rather than Fate Seal, because I do need to reload my hand. Right, and I'm just going to stop attacking. Now it's Jace versus Elvish Visionary, dual decks. And this is how you lose this game. Like, those early turns, like the first 5 turns of this game looked so good. I was just removing their thing, 2 for 1 here, 2 for 1 there. Now they just have this unbeatable draw engine. Elves draws more cards than any blue deck in Legacy, and that's been true for a long time. If you don't have something to shut the door, like whether it's a clock that just beats them quickly, or something like Containment Priest or Plague Engineer that really is a permanent that causes problems to their development, you can just lose out of nowhere. Another Visionary off Cradle. Scary stuff. This Jace has its work cut out for it. So I know there's a swamp on top of the deck. I'm okay drawing through it here. That went pretty well. I'm going to put back the swamp and the push, because I'm going to play Baleful Strix. Am I going to play Baleful Strix? Did I just fuck this up? I think I did just mess this up. I should have put back land push, or land. I should have put back the 2 lands, because then I can Fatal Push and have Force of Will available. I'm gonna kill this thing. Just hope that they didn't draw Natural Order in the meantime. But I definitely messed that up. I can attack here. They're not gonna attack into my Strixes. Like, I'm either dead or this is a good attack, and there's not really anything in between. The Shep. Does this get trample? 5/5 dinos. Alright. Shepherd does not give trample. They can totally cast Natural Order right now, and they have 3 cards in hand. Another Symbiote. Yep. This is where it all falls apart. Gonna need these Plague Engineers out of the sideboard. This Engineered Explosives also. Just engineer tribal. So they floated 3, bounced Visionary. This could be just to draw another card. They still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 9 mana. They can hardcast Hoof right now if they have one. Could easily Natural Order here. They could Zenith for Hoof. The Zenith for Hoof isn't lethal because they'd have to tap all their attackers to do it, but they can clear Jace, which is a really important part of my plan. Even if they sacrifice their Hoof to clear Jace, they're still winning this game. With their passing priority, I'm getting another turn. It's a surprise gift. But it mostly isn't gonna matter because I'm dead on board to the Shepherd. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they can activate Shepherd in response to damage-based removal. Snapcaster Mage, what do you do? I can clear their hand with him to Trock. I could Fatal Push the Shepherd. Alright, let's start with a Jace. Alright, put back the land and the other land. Yeah, so I need to snap push the Shepherd. Or no, I need to attack first. I'm going to attack with Snapcaster Mage. So they do the block bounce thing. Oh, they didn't fall for it. Alright, fine. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm going to have to dance around this a little bit. So if they put a Natural Order on the stack, I can Snapcaster, Fatal Push, target Allosaurus Shepherd, then Force of Will the spell. Zenith for 8. Okay, that is what I expected. Snapcaster Mage. Can't destroy Allosaurus Shepherd, but it will get it out of play for a turn. Push the Shep. They can pick it up. They can't activate it in response, which gives me a lot of time to operate, or at least more time to operate. All right, they are floating mana in the main phase here. All right, force that Green Sun Zenith. I wonder if I'm supposed to ponder on my turn and just try to clear these lands and come up with a blue card anyway, but that seems kind of reckless. So they can play Shepherd, replay Shepherd, and then they have 1, 2, 3 elves. So that's 5, 6 mana. They can activate Shepherd, but they don't actually have attacks through my Death Touch monsters. And they've already symbioted, so I don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to play this, crack it, and then activate Jace. I knew there was a land under there that I don't want. Let's go, Jace. Him to Turok is not bad. Angrath's Rampage is pretty bad. I'm gonna make my Snapcaster attacks. I kind of want them to pick up the Elvish Visionary so I can him it, but they have another one, so it's not a huge deal. I guess I wanted to clear the Shepherd more than anything else, so maybe that was loose. Alright, here comes my him. Off we go. What did I hit? Visionary and Shepherd. Alright. I tricked them into picking up the Visionary, and then also hit the Shepherd that I accidentally tricked them into diluting my chances of hitting. And the life total is 7-7. Oh, they drew a Green Sun Zenith. Alright, show me the second huff. Resolves. Okay. Yep. Terrible game one, and that's why. Like, I did so many things, controlled many of their plays for so long, and it just didn't matter because Grixis doesn't clock its opponent. Alright, Plague Engineer coming in. Engineered Explosives coming in. Pithing Needle can name Symbiote or Shepherd or Quirion Ranger as needed. I actually do like Blood Moon turning off the... They only actually have like 2 forests in the deck, so I don't hate Blood Moon. Liliana of the Last Hope would have been great at any point. That is my main deck out to this deck. I acted like I had nothing, but I actually do have something there. All Breacher's pretty good against this deck too. Cling to Dust doesn't do anything. I don't like Force of Negation. Even Force of Will is kind of sketchy, but now I'm bringing in all this removal to try to keep Shepherd out of play. But I still don't trust Force of Will that much. Angrath's Rampage is just really crappy. It's even worse than Sudden Edict, which is already bad. Though they might have Grist, the new Planeswalker that you can Green Sun Zenith for from Modern Horizons 2. So maybe I should hold on to Rampage. Spell Snare hits Zenith for 1 and Elvish Visionary. And that's probably about it. I don't think I want Spell Snare. I think this looks like a presentable deck. Do I want Flusterstorm? I don't think so. No, I'm over here cutting counter spells. I don't want to add another. Okay. Here we go. This is my plan. So I have a Thoughtseize and nothing. Well, I have Plague Engineer. How many lands are in this deck? There are 20 lands in the deck. So there are 19 left. There will be 18 after I fetch. So a lot better than 1 in 3. It's like 1 in roughly 2.5 cards as a land. I'm actually going to keep this. I think I can just spew the Force of Wills to stay on board for a while, and then eventually cast this Plague Engineer. Let's go Thoughtseize. And any cantrip is a good draw, any land is a good draw. Shepherd, Sentinel, Ranger. Taking the Shepherd. Terrified of that card. Especially with this double force hands that I'm sitting on. I think I'll Force of Will literally anything here. Especially this 2-2. I'm over here trying to cast Plague Engineer. You got 2/2s. Alright, we're at halfway there. I think I'm going to let their next spell resolve this turn and just hope to find the land. Or bottleneck the payoff at this point. There's the Visionary. That's going to draw. Angrath's Rampage, huh? Well, it's not getting better. Target player sacrifices a creature. Embarrassing. Let's keep those critical mass of elves out of here. Quirion Rangers in play. Found the land. So do I want to let them... Yeah, I'm going to let them build a little bit before I jam this Plague Engineer. If I get Thoughtseized, I deserve to lose. But in the meantime... So I can Force of Will a Natural Order, if that's their plan. They would need exactly land Shepherd Natural Order to stop that from happening. I guess they don't need the land, they have the Ranger. Alright, looks like they're building up to 4 mana here. We've got ourselves a Ranger danger. Oh no. Oh no. Am I gonna lose because I didn't Force of Will? Or I didn't jam Ranger? So is Hoof lethal here? Maybe I'm just supposed to put Ranger into play. Maybe I was just super disrespectful and should have played to my outs. So if they get Progenitus, I go to 15 off this attack. I fetch to 14. I play Plague Engineer, kill all their non-Progenitus things. Alright, it's not Progenitus. They're just attacking me for 12. Okay, so I'm not dead, though. I deserve to be. So I go to 4. I fetch to 3. Play Plague Engineer. Plague Engineer has Death Touch, blocks the other thing. Yeah, none of this would be possible if I just put my Engineer into play. Maybe I'm just not respecting. Like, I tried to get greedy and get them to commit extra elves, but it basically just let them do extra things instead. Elves are gone. Hoof versus Plague Engineer. But now the Hoof actually forces a block on Plague Engineer and they can rebuild. Yeah, that was just real bad. Rather than trying to hang a tasty little 2-for-1 out there on them, I should have just locked out their deck, or locked out their plays. Heritage Druid is in. Okay, well, my Force of Wills are back on. They can fetch a second thing here. If I Thoughtseize them, I go to 1. That doesn't seem like where I want to go. Also, I have not played in a way that is conducive to just jamming Blood Moon. Yeah, maybe I don't want Blood Moon in the deck if it hurts me this bad. So I'm gonna flash in Snapcaster Mage and block Dryad Arbor. There are no spells for me to target in the graveyard, unfortunately. I can target Angrass Rampage, I guess, which I can't cast. I am blocking Dryad Arbor. I'm more worried about that as far as accumulated resources go. Alright, well, I'm dead if I force this. Dead on board if I force this, and dead on board if I don't. So I'm going to force it and give myself the chance to draw a removal spell. And go out on my own terms. Bang. Yeah, that turn I didn't play the Engineer. I thought that their hand looked anemic enough that I could tease another elf out of their hand before I jammed the Engineer. But it was exactly, and I had Force of Will to back it up. Like, they had to have exactly Allosaurus Shepherd there, and they did. So I'm still trying to think if that was a tasty little opportunity for a 2-for-1 that went awry. Like, caught the backhand of variance. They had the 1-drop that they needed that I already answered one of. Like, they just hit a 3-outer versus I was playing fast and loose and should have just checked the box, make sure the worst thing couldn't happen. I think I'm on that side, that when you're playing Grixis control, you should just always be checking off boxes that make sure the worst thing don't happen. So yeah, I definitely just got greedy and instantly punished for that line. On the draw in round number 2, I am keeping this hand with a Force of Will and some cantrips. This is very similar to the hand I kept in the start of game 1. We are playing against Ragavan. So I could try to Force a Will this Jerk and just get blown out by Daze, or I could not Force a Will this Jerk and just get blown out by everything else. I'm gonna commit the Force a Will. They forced back at least. It wasn't Daze. Okay, Force Pitching Expressive Iteration. Well, there's Ragavan. Time to come up with an answer to it. Lightning Bolt. Oh. I'm gonna fetch my basic so that at least I don't get wastelanded out of the game here. Island, Ponder. Just looking for a removal spell, but not Angrath Rampage because I just fetched Island. Any other removal spell's good. Found several. So Ragavan's gonna hit me, so I have to play in a way that plays around that. So I'm gonna put Inquisition on the bottom, him in the middle, and Lightning Bolt on top. I'm not going to shuffle my library. They're going to hit me with Ragavan. They're going to get him to Turok that they can't cast because they'll only have 1 black. Unless they're Grixis Delver, in which case I am blown away here. This is absolutely destroyed. Here comes the Rag. They get to take my hymn. Uh-oh, fetch land. Uh-oh, fetch land. Okay, they're not Grixis Delver. Don't worry, team. True Name Nemesis. Alright, that's a tough one to beat. So I'm drawing Inquisition. I'm going to Bolt Ragavan and then cast Ponder. If they're going to Daze one of these spells, I prefer it to be Ponder. And I'm looking for one of my Edicts. Gurmag Angler. Live Fish beats Dead Fish. Heads up, so I'm going to shuffle this. And I don't want those 2 lands either. Okay, Brainstorm, let's keep it going. Angrass, Rampage, and Sudden Edict are both outs to this thing. Just checking the list here, and it is the Edict and the Rampage that help me here. There is nothing I forgot about. And of course, all that assumes they don't have a second creature. Taking my 3, going into my turn, and face the Mind Sculptor. So let's brainstorm here. Alright, found Rampage. Force of Negation, I think, can go, and I'm gonna hide the Fatal Push on top. Alright, so here's the plan. I Inquisition them now. Make sure they don't have an answer to my Rampage. Because they don't have a creature or a land. They have 2 spells in their hand based on how they played this game. So they're brainstorming in response. And then the Fatal Push on top can kill a second creature they draw. Rampage can kill the Edict. I'll double Daze. I was right to play around Daze. That's why I led on Inquisition. Your life total is a resource, etc. Oh, this. They hide Force of Will. Yeah, please just play a Delver. Okay. Alright, we lined it up perfectly. Split the uprights. Okay, so I get to fetch here. Their hand is Daze. Just need to get a black or red source. So Volcanic Island does what I need it to while spreading out my mana costs. And Fatal Push, you, Rampage, you. Can't Daze that. And Jace is in my hand. If I draw a land, I get to ram it. Alright, land. My Snapcaster Mage is not bad. I could Snap Ponder, just heads up, get on board, or I could play around their next creature with Snap Push. There's also Brainstorm in my graveyard, so I've got options. I think Snap Push is the way I want to play this game. Uh-oh, Murktide Regent. So I think now we're looking at Snap Angrass Rampage. Or I could Snap Brainstorm looking for the land to Jace bounce this thing. Because Snap Rampage gets dazed also. Yeah, I think I am gonna move on the Brainstorm. And if they drew a Force of Will, they might fight over this. Alright, they did not. So I get the Brainstorm here. Sudden Edict or land both play. Alright, Baleful Strix also plays. These Jaces are getting ugly. You get to work through them though. So here's Strix. If their hand is Lightning Bolt, at least I'm not dead, because 6+3 would have been dead. But I don't want to go to 3 here either. Just hope they don't have Lightning Bolt. They're tapping red. Okay, they had Lightning Bolt. So now I'm dead to a second bolt. And once again, Delver matchup comes down to not having lands. Oh, okay. Their hand is Daze. The land does it. Ugh. That doesn't. Yeah, I think I'm just out of gas here. This flying creature. Their hand is Dazed. They can cast it. Snap. Rampage is 4 mana. Jace is 4 mana. And, yep. Lost to Daze. So Izzet Delver is the game. Got Engineered Explosives here. All of these red and blue blasts are coming in. And so is Flusterstorm. I like Plague Engineer too, just another body in play. I could Pithing Needle Wastelands, but I don't know if that's going to be super important. So Force of Negation definitely comes out in some number of Force of Wills. That number might be all of them. Spell Snare. What does that do in this matchup? They have 1-drops and a 7-drop. Oh, Expressive Iteration is a 2-drop. Is that the only one they have? And if it is the only one they have, is it worth countering? Leaving in that card that only counters that? I'm not super sold on that. Cling to Dust, I don't need 2 of them, but one of them could potentially slow down a Murktide Regent. Also, gaining 3 life is not irrelevant in the matchup. I want to cut my Jaces because they're a Pyroblast deck, but this list also basically doesn't win without Jace. I am bringing in 2 other threats. Alright, I'll cut my 4-drop white, or 4-drop blue card against the Daze Pyroblast deck. And what's left here? Is it just the other Cling? So I do kind of like Cling in grindy spots. Am I just on 0 Force of Will? whatever they have goes. Alright, let's play to the board. Here we go. This hand is a keeper. I can jam him on the stack at some point. First appearance of Hull Breacher in the league. Opponent's on 5. That's what the Him to Turok player likes to see. I was trying to put you on 5 anyway. And I'm not letting them cheese me with Wasteland when they're on 4 cards. There's Delver. You got it. Yeah, another land was a great draw. Alright, if they're gonna cheese me with Wasteland now, it's fine. I'm not gonna brainstorm. Like, I could brainstorm looking for a discard spell, but I don't really want to cast any spells into Daze if I don't have to. Delver didn't flip. Cool, they didn't have Wasteland. I kind of suspected that. Wasteland is not a card you would keep on your Multi 5. It's just potentially a brick. I'm gonna brainstorm now. Don't think I really need this Hull Breacher. Would have got there on Inquisition. But this way I can Inquisition and then also him. And put them to basically nothing. So Hull Breacher is definitely the card that I want to remove from the pool here. I'm actually fine drawing the Badlands. So there is a quick lesson here. If you know both Him to Turok and Inquisition are going to resolve, it's better to him first, because this is the random discard. Then you get to select from what remains with your selective discard spell. But if you want to make sure him resolves, it's better to lead on Inquisition to check the hand and make sure your banger spell actually makes it through. So I'm going to do it that way. So Inquisition's on the stack. It is more important for me to empty this hand than anything else. Alright, I'm going to take the Narset because I'm more scared of that one. Am I more scared of that one? Yes, definitely. Both of those things draw cards, and that one also stops me from drawing cards. So I'm really hoping to hit my 2 out of 3 and take the Expressive Iteration out of this hand. Alright, cool, we got it. Their hand is just Volcanic Island right now. And if they flip Delver, we'll know what their other card is. Delver didn't flip, and they shuffled, so nobody knows what their other card is. Then K Command can kill Delver and knock the Volcanic Island out of their hand, I guess, if I even care about that. We'll see what I draw for turn. So Ponder. So I know their hand is Volk, which is not good for them. So I'm going to start with Ponder. Okay, that is pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can cast Gurmag Angler and remove the Delver next turn at my convenience. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus my land, which I'm not going to cast. Or, you don't cast lands. I'm not going to play my land. Alright, so now I have a real threat in play. This is a difficult threat for Blue-Red Delver to remove. Expressive Iteration is a pretty good hit. I will Hydroblast that. It's going to cost me my Lightning Bolt and Fatal Push, but I have Kolaghan's Command in hand also. But I can't let them get back into this game. I'm ahead right now, and let's keep it that way. The Delver gets to smash. They didn't play their land. That's smart. That was the right way to do that. And I'm going to Ponder. Sudden Edict and Baleful Strix. Nice. Alright, so I'm just going to play Baleful Strix and make my land drop. There's no rush. They're hellbent. I now have answers on answers on answers. And they have 3 more draw steps this game. And if they draw Lightning Bolt, they would have to point it at Strix. Cool. We're doing it. Alright, Sudden Edict. I don't think I want to spend that on Delver. As if I kill this Delver and then they come back around with Murktide Regent, I'm going to want an answer to that. Baleful Strix doesn't take a turn off the clock, so I'm not going to attack with it. I don't really need to do anything until they do something. Like, the second mode on this Kolaghan's Command is not good right now because they've been sitting on this Volcanic Island forever in their hand. Okay, so that's a thing they can discard to the discard mode, which I don't love. I guess I have Snapcaster, so yeah, I can just Sudden Edict them. Yeah, so I can Snap Edict if they have the other thing. Murktide Regent. Alright, they're just scooping to Sudden Edict. Unbeatable. I said this card in the deck tech is the only upgrade we got, but apparently it's just eliciting scoops left and right. Okay. I don't think anything changes about the deck. Everything is still here. I don't suddenly want Pithing Needle for Wasteland or any of the above. Just trying to play to the board and beat them at their own game. I'm going to keep this fistful of interactive spells. My opponent also kept 7. That's unlucky for me. Right, no play on turn 1. Just going to get rowdy with a Thoughtseize. I can fetch basic here. If they have Stifle, they got me. But I haven't seen that in a deck in a long time. Thoughtseize is on the stack. If they counter it, it's like I Thoughtseized that. Fork Bolt, Lightning Bolt, Surgical Extraction, True Name Nemesis. Wow, that's not a good hand. I'm going to take the Narset, because that's the card in the hand that does anything at all. And I'm going to get to cast Baleful Strix. And then they can Lightning Bolt it if they want, or whatever. Eventually the Sudden Edict will eat True Name Nemesis. So here's Strix. They want to like Fork Bolt plus Surgical. It's a 3-for-1. It's incalculable. Nobody can count that high on what a blowout that is. I assume they are going to Fork Bolt it. Like, why is Fork Bolt in the deck if not for that? But if they also want to Surgical it, that's just crazy to me. Looks like that's not their plan. Don't worry. Oh, it is their plan, but they're doing it in my upkeep for some reason. At least wait for the draw step. I can take my free shuffle off of Brainstorm. Please and thank you. So put back. I really don't think Cling to Dust is doing anything this game. And I have a bunch of lands at this point. So yeah, go ahead. Shuffle me up. Then I get to put him to Tarok on the stack. They might scoop to seeing the Sudden Edict in hand again. Just wins 2 games for me. And I'm going to lead on the Underground Sea because they just saw the they didn't see the Badlands. True Name Nemesis, Lightning Bolt in the graveyard. Their hand is literally Surgical oh, nope, they just cast that card. Their hand is unknown cards. Yeah, Surgical Extraction, I don't know. I would not select that card to be in my deck that I present in this particular matchup. Ragavan, Dashed Ragavan. Okay. This is a wild draw, so I don't know what it is. Could be anything. Ponder is basically the best one it could have been. So they get to Ponder here. Or they can pass the turn and not do anything. That's weird. Why would you do that? I'm confused. Okay. I'll take it though. So I can Hydroblast Ragavan. I can Pyroblast their Hydroblast. I am ready for Murktide Regent. Probably should have fought this thing on the stack. Ooh, now that it's in play. No, I want to wait till combat so they can't dash a second one. Alright, so the Pyroblast is what they were waiting for. I'm going to destroy target permanent if it's red. I'm going to go after Ragavan again. It's a reasonable exchange. Alright, now I need something to pull ahead. I have stabilized the board. I have the next threat answered. It's time to find a threat of my own. Where's my Gurmag Angler? There's my Hull Breacher. I'll take that. So, I actually think I want to put back Scalding Tarn and Brainstorm in that order. I actually just want to draw all these cards. Just Hull Breacher with Pyroblast backup is pretty nice. Please cast Brainstorm. Iteration. Alright, I guess I have to Pyroblast that. So that's countered. I'm not going to play into Daze. I'm so set up to never get dazed here. Just going to pass the turn on this one. I want you to put a Brainstorm on the stack. I would take a Ponder too. Murktide Regent. Scary stuff. And Ragavan. They sequenced that backwards. I'll take care of that one. And then Ragavan resolves. And then I will flash in Hull Breacher. My opponent is on empty over there. Hull Breacher can at least block Rag if I don't find another answer. Brainstorm. Oh yeah. Plague Engineer on Monkey. I could name Pirate just to flex the one-sidedness of the card. The absurd one-sidedness of Plague Engineer. Because Hull Breacher is also a pirate. I don't think they have their own Hull Breachers. I don't think they have any other pirates or other monkeys. And I get to attack because their only haste creature dies to Plague Engineer. I forgot to fetch. I was supposed to shuffle this Underground Sea away. Whoops. I think I knew that was there. Yeah, I did from the Brainstorm. Yeah, that was bad. I was just busy counting my chips while I'm sitting at the table. You're not supposed to do that. Alright, they floated a blue and conceded. I'll take that. I said in the deck tech, this deck does line up pretty well against what Delver's doing, and that held up true in this particular round. On the draw for round number 3, and sign me right up for this hand. Got Inquisition into him with Force of Negation, Protection, Baleful Strix if they have nothing. We have another fan of the channel in the chat. Hello, Holy Limbo, if you're watching this later. So I was recently accused of always thinking that Underground Sea Ponder is Doomsday. And nothing is different now. Let's see if I was right. I'm gonna Inquisition off of a basic swamp here. I'm just saying, Underground Sea is not what it once was, thanks to Uro, and Doomsday is the best Underground Sea deck, so I just assume most of my opponents are doing the right thing. Hey, look, haters. Look what's going on here. They're Doomsday. Okay, I'm done talking shit. So, if I take the Duress, then, yeah, I'm actually just going to take Duress. I don't want them to know what I'm up to. I know that I have multiple answers to what they're doing in my hand right now. And if they want to use a card negative tutor to find the Doomsday and then cast it in a way that I can counter, I'm okay with that. You know, obviously if they just have like great. All right. That's actually a nightmare. I specifically took that card so this wouldn't happen. Alright, so if I Force of Negation this, then they cast Personal Tutor, and then they get Doomsday next turn. I think I just have to let Duress resolve. They get to take my Force, and then I can Strix to cantrip. You can't Thoughtseize the top of the deck, but you can top of the deck a Thoughtseize. And that's what just happened. Okay, they took him. They're settling in for something a little longer here. I'm a little surprised by that play, but pleasantly surprised, I guess. I'm going to jam my Strix, because if they looked right at Force Negation and said I don't care about that, then I'm going to take their word for it and try to develop my board instead. Might even draw a blue card. Could be anything, even a boat. That's not a boat, but it is a card. It's another cantrip. It is unlikely to ruin their plans, though. Alright, so Ponder, they still haven't cast this Personal Tutor, which is pretty interesting to me. Like, they had the Duress to clear the way. They had the Personal Tutor to stack Doomsday, and then on the following turn they can cast Doomsday? Isn't that the whole dream? Alright, well, my dream is drawing Brainstorm, and I did that, so here we go. Let's fix this shitty hand. Find some more discard spells, maybe? Alright, Spell Snare, it's Thassa's Oracle, but not if they Cavern it. It also pitches to Force of Negation, which I'm much more interested in. And I get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can cast Garmag Angler this turn. So I'm going to fetch Underground Sea, another one, and cast Garmag Angler. Because Underground Sea casts Spell Snare or Cling to Dust. Here we go. I've played around Daze here. I have Force Blue card, and I'm still playing around Daze. If they Doomsday, they go to 8 life. Which is not quite dead. One hit with this Garmag Angler and Doomsday leaves them dead on board. Because it basically attacks for 8 if you account for Doomsday. So are they going? I mean, they can't go. They know I have the Force, but they would have to have Force backup. So they can go. They are just taking their lives in their hands when they do it. Alright. I mean, you know what you're doing. They must have a Force backup, which will put them to 7 life. And I'm going to Cling to Dust, Ponder for the cantrip, or Duress. No, they have 2 of both. Unfortunately, Street Wraith doesn't cantrip, which is the card I would actually want to take. Alright, Fatal Push is not what I wanted in this matchup. Alright, carry on with your Doomsday. Every time I play against Doomsday, they do this thing where I see their hand and it's nothing, and then they cycle Straight Wraith and they have the 2 or 3 cards they need. And that's what happened this game. I checked them and I was like, okay, I can beat Personal Tutor, take the Duress. They cycle Street Wraith, untap draw, and they drew Duress Doomsday off those 2 cards. I'm not tilting. I'm just explaining why Doomsday is a good deck when other people play it and not when I play it. It's like they get 12 of these. It's crazy. I wish I wanted to put in the work to learn Doomsday because I think it's a really cool and really powerful deck, and I think you get a lot of value out of people who don't quite understand how the deck works. Like, they're going to sideboard wrong, they're going to play wrong, and all of that is true. So I'd like to draw Brainstorm here. Brainstorm. Snapcaster Mage. That's almost something I want, but isn't. Yeah, they're going to be at 1 at the end of this sequence. I guess I have one out here, which is... So they could either mess up, or I can Snapcaster, Cling to Dust, Cling their Doomsday, and draw Lightning Bolt. The idea's Unbound. So the Spell Snare is pitched. Well, that would have been a good target for Spell Snare that I pitched to the Force. Alright. If this resolves, I assume Lightning Bolt's going to be, or whatever they want's going to be in their hand. So they're going to draw Cavern, Cycle Spell. Yeah, they're going to play an untargetable or uncounterable Oracle with 0 cards in their deck. So I'm going to go for Snapcaster, Cling to Dust, try to draw Lightning Bolt. I'm not going to fetch first because there is a chance that I draw Brainstorm and Brainstorm into Force blue card instead. So close. Okay, they probably got me. Lotus Petal, Edge of Autumn, yep. Oh, they didn't go for Cavern? That Spell Snare would have worked twice. Alright. Got me good. 1 life left. So Doomsday. Don't have a whole great plan for this one. Flusterstorm comes in. Probably like Null Rod and Pithing Needle. You can name Edge of Autumn or Street Wraith and try to take them off something. Surgical Extraction. If I can like Thoughtseize Surgical, an important combo piece, that's a play. Pyroblast comes in. I guess I do have a lot of mediocre cards here and not a lot of good ones. Okay, Liliana the Last Hope doesn't matter here. Hullbreacher's great. Angrath is terrible. Sudden Edict is terrible. Fling Dust, like we just saw, terrible. Fatal Push, terrible. Lightning Bolt, I might leave in, depending on how many cards I end up needing to cut, because Doomsday is hefty on the life total, and like we saw that game, a Lava Dart would have won it. So Jace is kind of a lot to ask against this combo deck with Daze in it. It is a blue card, it is also a card that can pull ahead on a stable board. Alright, it's looking like Lightning Bolt is not going to make the cut, and I think Cling to Dust is the other shitter. Here we go. I'm willing to believe this is too many surgical extractions, but at the same time, like cheesing them out with a Thoughtseize Surgical really is one of my best plans to win this game. Alright, I have the Thoughtseize. I'm going to keep Seize You. Let's see what they got here. Duress, Brainstorm, Lotus Petal, Ponder. I think I want to take Brainstorm. And it's awkward that how good this Hullbreacher is. Maybe I just take Duress and let them figure it out. Yeah, I'm taking Duress. Let's play that game. If they're patient on their cantrips or like save the Brainstorm for later, this Hullbreacher is lined up for it. Dropping the petals. I expect that's to play around discard more than that they actually have anything. Awkward that I have Flusterstorm and Pyroblast in my hand right now. I'm gonna pass. I'll play at least one of these. There's land and go. Great. They've played extremely well around what I'm doing. Oh, I found the land. If they go for Brainstorm, they're in trouble. See if they end step it. They didn't end step it, so now I can protect it with Force of Negation. My Hullbreacher, that is. And I'm definitely on Team Hullbreacher. If they do anything, I'm jamming. Defense Grid. Alright, so I'm going to Force of Negation that, pitching Baleful Strix. Let's dance around this a little bit. See if we can get a fight over something I don't actually care about. And then I can win the fight about the thing I do care about. Alright, cool. Now if I hit a land drop, I could protect my Breacher. Oh, that's even better. It's back to their turn. Here we go. It's party time. They have 3 cards in their hand. Mystical Dispute. Force of Will. 2 cards left in their hand. No! God, I hate Daze. Ban that card. Get it out of the format. That is actually not trolling. Like, I actually do think Daze is a problem and needs to leave Legacy. And not just because I'm losing to it, but I do think that it is over the line. You know, they get to Doomsday me. Yeah, wow. That's what I'm saying about Doomsday. They always have it. Their deck is built to just always have it. If I had drawn a land, I guess I don't win that counter war because the Force of Will functioned as a land as far as, you know, fighting over Mystical Dispute goes. Pitched Flusterstorm to it, so yeah. Them just having multiple answers in hand was good enough all on its own. So what do I do now? Like, can I even win this game now? Don't think I have a single out to a Resolve Doomsday from this position. Yeah, I don't even know what it is. Oh, maybe Kolaghan's Command could mess up their pile somehow. Like if I can clip the Oracle out of their hand. Or if they, again, went for a no cavern route, but they can draw Force of Will along the way. I'm going to counter this, or at least try to fight over this, because if this resolves, they get the whole pile, which probably includes protection for the Oracle. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. It's probably not a very good chance, but it's not nothing. So if they don't have... Okay, so now I can snap Force of Negation. I can also Pyroblast around Daze. Well, I was doing that anyway, I guess. Alright, so do they have the Cavern? Lion's Eye Diamond. Kolaghan's Command is actually great here. Oh my god. So, alright, I thought it was great. Is it actually great? What does it do? I was so excited for a second, but was there any reason to be? Probably not. I need 1 more mana for this to be the great draw that I wanted it to be. If they pass priority, this becomes a great draw. Yeah, if they just go like Cavern Oracle. So they have 2 cards in their hand right now. Alright, I guess I'm making the play I have 1 mana short of this being great. Like I could have K Command, make you discard, then you can't have Force Blue card. Yeah, Force Blue card was the last thing. Oh wait. Nope, doesn't matter. Because I was like, now I can K Command, but now it doesn't matter because Oracle's on the stack. Yeah, nothing I can do here. 1 mana short again. Days. Days! These are the days of our lives. Yeah, I'm just making super sure there's no play here, and there is not. 1 mana short. They pitched... Oh, they pitched Mystical Dispute. No, I was not 1 mana short. I was 1,000 mana short. Alright, you got me. GG's Doomsday. On the draw and round number 4, I'm going to keep this hand with Ponder, 3 lands, and some K commands. Prismatic Vista. So they are a heavy control deck or a show and tell deck. Those are pretty much the decks that play Prismatic Vista. So I'm going to cast my Ponder. I want to get some velocity going. I want to find a discard spell. Oh, found one immediately. So I wanted to find a discard spell to check what they were doing over there. Either way, whether they're combo or control, discard is good against them. And if I can curve the Inquisition up into Hull Breacher and really challenge what they're trying to do, that's great for me. I think I'm going to fetch Basic Swamp here, though. They could also be a back to basics deck. If they Veil of Summer this Inquisition, I'll know they're show and tell. Okay, so they are show and tell. So they have the Science and the Force of Will. Suspend is a problem. Okay, so I'm actually going to remove the Suspend from their hand because that card exiles my Hull Breacher if they draw show and tell this turn. And Hull Breacher is my plan to stop them from going buck wild with Omniscience. Okay, so they're cracking their fetch land. They're played their city. It looks like it's time for show and tell. The good news is my Hull Breacher beats their Omniscience right now. I have perfect information about their hand, and they have two things that don't draw cards. The bad news is they can cast Force of Will for free. They can also flash in these Coatls just as blockers and trade with my Hull Breacher. Cling to Dust. That doesn't do anything I need it to. So if I Snapcaster Ponder... Oh, can't do that. Just played my land like a maniac. So maybe I'm supposed to Kolaghan's Command them? Yeah, if I can clear this Force of Will, I can do Kolaghan's Command stuff. They draw Cunning Wish, I just lose. Okay, so they're looking at the top of their deck with Ponder, giving me a treasure for my trouble. They chose to shuffle their library, that's good. Hull Breacher. I'm going to Cling to Dust, just some random card in their graveyard, probably Ponder. Just trying to draw cards here, pull ahead. If I can clear any of these Coatls, life will be much easier. Okay, so I can attack, they play Coatl, I get a treasure, I Fatal Push before the block. Alright, I think we have clean attacks here. They also give me treasures if they block, or if they try to block. They didn't fall for it. That's a shame. Alright, so I'm going to stop them in their... Do I stop them? I don't think I even stopped them. Because their hand has so many cards in it that it doesn't matter. So I'm going to Kolaghan's Command for discard and deal 2. Target player discards a card and any target takes 2. Going after them with both. Trying to drop the clock and also shred their hand a little bit. This also puts another card in the graveyard for Cling to Dust, which can keep my cards moving forward. Okay, so this counters my spell. They don't take 2, but they don't draw a card, and I get a treasure out of it. So that ended up, basically, they traded 2 life for giving me a mana, which is probably a reasonable trade to make in this position. I'm pretty glad they didn't save that for this turn, though. I continue getting beat down. And then I can snap Inquisition. Also just play this fetch land and get them with the Snap K command. I should probably just be pondering. Alright, they're pondering. This is a tenuous hold of this game. If they at any point find Cunning Wish, they get to dodge all of this. They did not shuffle their library. Alright, we're in the danger zone. Alright, so in the end step, I'm gonna K command for... This is exile 5 other cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so K command. Target player discards a card and takes 2. I'm gonna hit them with these modes. And then I'm gonna flashback Cling to Dust. Just trying to draw something. Anything. And I'm gonna fetch and cast the Cling. What do I need here? I think it looks like Underground Sea is the winner. And then Cling to Dust. Target their Veil of Summer, I suppose, because it doesn't matter. 2, 3, 4. And exile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave the Ponder there, because I'm trying to dig for answers to their Cunning Wish that they just found. I found another Ponder, so I need multiple counter spells because I know they have the Force over there. And Ponder first. Jace and Sudden Edict. Oh, Jace is good. Do not shuffle my library. So they'll have to force the Jace, or else I get to Fate Seal that card that they just kept to the bottom. And then I can YOLO Ponder for another counterspell. And that's my whole plan. Or I could Ponder first and try to come up with a counterspell to protect the Jace. Or if I find Discard Spell first, that actually... Yeah, if I can find Thoughtseize first, yeah, I should definitely lead on the Ponder. Okay, here we go. Moment of Truth. Sudden Edict Brainstorm. Shuffling that because I need all of the mana just to find the Thoughtseize. That wasn't what I needed. And then here's Jace. Yep, there's the force that they were extremely patient with. They did that extremely well. And now I'm going to die to whatever card they left on top of their deck with Ponder. Yep. Tough crowd. Yep, dead. That Hull Breacher bought me way more time than I really deserved. Like, that was a giant cheese factor in a game that was pretty cleanly won otherwise. I think I want the Surgicals. I want the Fluster. Needle, Null Rod. I don't think I want Needle. I could name Grizzlebrand, but the game's already over by that point. Alright, Lily on the Last Hope's bad. Fatal Push is medium. Fling to Dust is pretty bad. Spell Snare gets the snake, but nothing else. Angrath's Rampage. There's no universe where I'm getting another turn. I guess, like, if they have to just YOLO jam Show and Tell and put Emrakul in, then that's a reasonable card to have, but Sudden Edict does the same thing, and that's... I don't want to play to a game where they have resolved Show and Tell. So Edict's good. I like all the discard. I like the Surgicals because the discard taking Show and Tell is pretty devastating against their deck. Red Blast is the secret sauce I was missing last game to remove the Omniscience from play once it was there. I could bring in Plague Engineers and name Snake just to keep the board stable, make sure they don't cheese around me. This also blocks and trades with Shifting Ceratops if they're doing that sort of thing. Alright, I'm off Spell Snare. There's like Impulse and Icefang Coatl are the cards that Spell Snare hits in the matchup. Jace is pretty good. K-Command is actually pretty bad. Okay. Here's the deck I'm presenting. So, discard spell, counter spell, this is a keep. Being on the play, my discard spell gets in before their 4 Veil of Summers come up. I'm gonna fetch for Underground Sea. Cast Inquisition. There's a Veil of Summer and a Show and Tell. Interesting. Which one do I want to take? That's actually hot decision. I'm gonna take the Show. Because now any Surgical at any point goes crazy. I got a Prismatic Vista, Carpet. That's a good card. I'm not going to fight over it though. I'm in the market for one of my many Surgical extractions. That's all I'm trying to do right now. I know their hand. I know that if I find a Surgical, they will be out of Show and Tells for the game. Pyroblast is pretty strong. Jace is a ways away. Hymn to Tarak is a no way Jose in this particular matchup due to the Veil of Summer that we see right there in their hand. So Hymn to Tarak's definitely going away. I need the land drop. I kind of want this Garmag Angler to end the game eventually. I think I'm going to tuck the second Pyroblast. Because I want to pitch Jace to force, I want Baleful Strix to keep the game moving forward, and I want Garmag Angler to bash for 20. And I can fetch a Badlands off of this card, off of Scalding Tarn to keep their Carpet in check. Badlands, which is actually a good land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can play Baleful Strix, still holding up Force and Red Blast. I'm going to save my land drop in case I find a fetch land that denies them another turn of Carpet mana. I didn't get there that time. That's fine. Still have 2 counter spells. They still have the 1 Veil that I know of. I know 4 of their 6 cards in hand right now. And their hand, last time I saw it, needed both. Back to Basics, that's a card. So I know 3 of the cards in their hand right now, and I'm going to let Back to Basics resolve, because I can Red Blast it in play, and they can't Veil of Summer it there, but they can Veil of Summer to keep it safe on the stack. And no reason to play around Daze, because I'm not untapping. Okay, so they force pitching Omniscience. If I force back, they Veil. That was pretty all in. I mean, I respect it, and it's going to work, but That was a deep play. Now I get to play Gurmag Angler with my basic swamp and bash for a zillion. Yeah, yeeting your omniscience is certainly a bold line. I don't know where we are on the how much that makes sense scale. Like, I'm trying to think from their point of view. The omniscience needs show and tell plus another spell to do anything. And the back to basics currently appears to be locking me out of the whole game. But if you force, then you need show and tell, omniscience, and the other thing to do anything. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight over the brainstorm, even though I don't like it. Uro. Alright, that's a card in your deck. Alright, that makes more sense. Good thing I cut my Cling to Dust. Uro is in some of these decks and it's not in others, and it's like whatever either way. Really time to draw Surgical Extraction, and now show and tell is not even the problem. Come on, Surgical. Ooh, I'll take that. I get to Brainstorm. And I am doing it now because the Surgical is just really important to hit sooner than later. Okay, so if I tuck the Baleful Strix on top, I can force pitching Jace and then draw Baleful Strix, put that into play. The carpet is making it so their back to basics doesn't affect them basically at all. Actually, I think I force pitching. Yeah, force pitching Jace. That's what I said, right? In my head, I was thinking force pitching force, but I don't think that's right because I'm never casting this Jace. And if Uro gets into play, like if they have the Veil here, this game's probably over anyway. So Baleful Strixes do block. Cunning Wishing in response, Cunning Wish for Veil, and with the one perfect floating green. Oh, they had to Cunning Wish for Force of Will. That's good. Alright, so now they're empty. Well, they're going to draw a fresh one with Uro. But I do have two Baleful Strixes that can keep Uro from getting out of control. They don't have a super stocked graveyard over there. So I get to go Baleful Strix land drop this turn, and then we look at each other for a while. But while we're looking at each other, they're drawing to a clean combo kill, and I'm drawing to like Red Elemental Blast. But whatever, here we are. So the life we live. And I did manage to get that Tropical Island tapped. Not that it matters, because Carpet is good for 4 right now. Jesus. Resolves. I have nothing. Alright. Yeah, that was a pretty good Uro plus draw step. I was definitely behind, like don't get me wrong, but that was awfully good. I am not dead though. So I can ponder. And Polluted Delta is actually a good draw. I'll take that. There are more islands and swamps in the deck. So let's go. If they attack with Emrakul, I annihilate 6, which I guess is just going to be my 1, 2, 3, 4. I can annihilate most of my islands. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably the other island. Oh, this Coatl is bullshit. I'm 1 permanent short of being extremely comfortable. Alright, so they're empty over there. They can make a big attack. So Uro takes 5 cards to escape. Alright, so here they come. I'm gonna fetch now because that gives me more permanents to sacrifice. Islands, I think, are better than swamps right now. So Annihilator 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I guess I have to go here. Play this game on 2 lands. Uro trigger, draws a card. I just block and trade with both of these creatures. Oh yeah, the Emrakul will shuffle away the Uros, so that's not even really... So Uro's gone for a while. But now I'm on a 15 turn clock from this Ice Fang Coatl. Alright, weirdo game continues. Let's draw another Baleful Strix. Alright, that's a basic swamp. Or a red source if I draw Red Elemental Blast. I'm way behind and struggling here, but I am still in this game. Baleful Strix is a magic card, for sure. Ponder, yep. Let's go. That's how we start to do it. Hull Breacher, Force of Negation, land. Do I want this Hull Breacher? Do I want this land? Hull Breacher seems pretty good. I'm not going to shuffle my library. And I'm going to pass the turn. So if I need to force something, I can right now. And there's a land to cast Hull Breacher on top of the deck under that. And cheesing a Stolen Brainstorm off of Hull Breacher is a way to dig out from back to basics, because that gives me a bunch of mana to work with. And I have 13 turns to figure this out. They're not making mana with their carpet. So they could have a handful of shitters, like just random Emrakul's and Grizzlebrands and Omniscience sort of stuff, or they could have a bunch of counter spells. And that's basically like all the things that they could have. They could have some Veil of Summers. I'm drawing Force of Negation, which I also want. So I'm just going to take my damage and work through this. They'll draw a card eventually. Right, now I have Force of Negation, which I can't hard cast because my basic island's in the graveyard. So I guess that Polluted Delta... No, I did need to shuffle my deck off the Polluted Delta the turn Emrakul attacked. So that was not a complete disaster. So there's a limit to how much damage I can take from this thing, but I don't think we're there yet. I don't want a Hull Breacher, because then they can just brainstorm in response. So if they just don't even have it, that's pretty cool. Alright, I'm going for Hull Breacher. There is a basic swamp in the deck. Breach. They're fetching. This looks like a hard cast Force of Will, probably. Oh, they're veiling. Okay, they're veiling to draw a card, then they might also hard cast Force of Will. Now they know it resolves. Yeah, that appears to be what's happening. Or it's just in there. I'll take that too. They have a removal spell? Nope. Okay, cool. They were just getting their cantrip while they could. Ooh. So if they flash in a second Coatl, I could force it. Suspend, huh? Exile Tiger creature. Yeah, sure. Okay, you're on suspend. So drawing the second Hull Breacher is actually insane here because they're going to think that the coast is clear. And there's pressure because my Hull Breacher will be back in 3 turns, so there's pressure to put their cantrips onto the stack. I don't know what my realistic path out of this game is, but it's definitely part of it. There he is. They can gain 3 life, but they're not drawing cards. Alright, so they gain 3 life. I get a treasure. And this is 5 to escape. Okay, there's card number 5. But they're not making their move. Alright. You gonna keep attacking? Yes. Alright. The decision to Force of Will this Uro is an interesting one, but I think I do need to do it. Okay, so they're veiling to make sure Uro happens. But I get a treasure off that. I got a treasure off the Uro. Then I have to beat a 6 power creature, which is actually kind of hard. These veils are so good against Grixis control. Ooh, they didn't go for the Uro. Are they out of fetchable lands? That's the only explanation I can think of for that. Alright, other Hull Breacher is on notice. Sudden Edict. Alright, I don't think their last card in hand is Icefang Coatl. Just don't believe that to be the case. And I guess I'll pass the turn. This Edict seems like it could get better. I'm just not sure how I get around this Coatl without Edicting first. Is there a Red Blast in my deck? Impulse, that's so good. So good. Gets around Hull Breacher like a boss. This is another game brought to you by Hull Breacher. There's nothing else going on in this game, and there was nothing going on in game 1 either except Hull Breacher. I guess that's only true because Baleful Strix died to get us here. Baleful Strix is the hero of this game. So they are fetching. They do have another land. It's true. They can make a 6/6 and gain 3 life, which I think is actually pretty good. But it's going to be hard to do it twice. So I think I should Edict just right now. Let's just get this thing dead. I keep taking points from it, and eventually that's going to matter. Then I'll force the Uro. If they have Veil of Summer, I get blown out. It's fine. But I'm not beating Uro, so it's kind of a forced play. They didn't bring it back Uro last turn when they could have, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They didn't leave up green mana. So if they're going to fight over Uro, they have to do it with Force of Will. Alright, Uro's in the graveyard. Oh my god. Keep getting all this false hope. Alright, you're back. And now we're crunching. In for 6. Creatures that come in off suspend have haste, in case you forgot that rule from Time Spiral Limited. Alright, so they need to just not have Show and Tell for Grizzlebrand. That would be great. Oh no. No! Pro Blue. Vigilance is not one of the words it gets. Okay, but I am dead in 2 turns. So I need that Sudden Edict. Like, they're winning the race. They should just fire up the haste, attack, and make me dead. I have basically nothing to say about this except Snapcaster Mage for Sudden Edict. Yep, here's the haste. But Ceratops is so good, I even mentioned it in the deck, in the sideboarding decisions. Yeah, I need Snapcaster Mage. That's my only play, I think. Or, yeah, Gurmag Angler's already gone. Show and Tell. Okay. No. You also have Grizzlebrand? Jesus. That came together pretty well for them. Well, I drew the card I wanted. It's just not good enough. Is there another way out of this? I even drew the Snapcaster. What? Rule Fortune. So, yeah, the Snapcaster is just deterministically dead. Yeah, drew what I wanted, just not good enough. I guess I can... I don't even know what I can do. Like, there's nothing to be done here. They just have 2 lethal creatures. Would have won this game if they didn't also have Show and Tell. Well, don't have a blocker this time. Don't have 6 more permanents to eat. GG's. Grixis Control coming up just a little short again. Those were awesome games, though. So, I can say, like, Grixis Control coming up a little short. I'm not trying to shit on the deck constantly, but that was a Uro situation. I boarded in 3 surgical extractions, and they spent most of the game with Show and Tell and or Uro in the graveyard, and I was never able to exile either of them. Uro was the thing that won this game. Like, we beat the combo half of the deck, then we had to pivot onto beating the Uro half of the deck, and then while we were dealing with that, they put the combo half of the deck back together. So, I think that was a pretty impressive showing. It's turn 15 against Omnishow, and they had to string together a miracle there to beat what I presented. So that was a pretty good showing, all things considered, for a match loss. On the draw in round number 5, we're playing for that half our money back, and I'm playing against Marcus Ewald. I would like to respond, and he is known for High Tide, but he's also known for blue-white control decks. And Hullbreacher's good against both, but I'm obviously not keeping a no-lander. This is not great against most of the decks Marcus plays, but I'm not going to go to 5. Both of those decks tend to settle into a longer game some amount of the time, so I'm going to try this. There's also just always the chance that he's on Delver and out here farming. Flooded Strand, that's probably good news for me. Island Ponder off Flooded Strand. Marcus and I have spent some time talking about how to build blue-white decks, and I respect everything that's happening over there. Underground Sea pass. Let's see what's coming next. This could still be High Tide. Alright, it's definitely not High Tide now. There's no planes in High Tide. Ooh, Stoneforge Mystic is a nice one. I'm just gonna get Cauldron into the earth. Batterskull, okay. I think that, in general, Batterskull lines up with the Legacy format better than Cauldron does. But I'm pretty glad that that was Batterskull. Ooh, bummer. If this was Thoughtseize, I could just strip the Batterskull. I'm gonna Ponder first. Or I guess I should Brainstorm. No, my hand is full of good cards. I'm gonna Ponder looking for an answer to Stoneforge Mystic. That's not it. So shuffle this up. And didn't get there. So now I am priced into at least firing off my Inquisition. I have a lot of red sources in my hand, so I'm just going to go with another Underground Sea here. take the Teferi, or do I take the Batter, or I can't take Batterskull. Do I take Teferi or Brainstorm? Oh, he's got Wasteland over there? Come on, man. Thought we were friends. I guess I take Prismatic Ending, because that cleanly exiles the Baleful Strix, and Teferi at least has to bounce it. So I like that. But getting the Wasteland is so nice. He gets to waste me, doesn't leave any mana unspent by putting in Batterskull. It's doing it right now. Alright. My deck does have Kolaghan's Command in it, which is the card responsible for killing Stoneblade back in 2018. Here's Baleful Strix. Alright, cool. So Fatal Push can slow down the Germ, at least a little bit. Luckily I had a bunch of lands to play. Playing Tundra, here's Teferi. Do you plus, or do you bounce my Strix, give me another card, and crunch for 5? This is actually a tough call. Alright. Ooh, just trading. I accept. So I block here, then you can pick up Batterskull with Teferi and shoot it back in with Stoneforge Mystic next turn. Oh, picking up the Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, settling in for a much longer game than even I had in mind. This would be a great time to find Thoughtseize. Ingress Rampage. I could just clear Teferi out here. Maybe I should have jammed Liliana. So we don't need all these lands. Volcanic Island can go away, and how much do I care about Teferi? Probably kind of a lot. So I actually do want 2 of these lands, because I want the Fatal Push and the other thing. So I'm going to tuck the 2 fetch lands back, just make the land drop from hand. Target player sacrifices a Planeswalker. Black-red. This is like 2019 Magic. Or just Grixis control versus Stoneblade. Just high quality boomer shit. The Teferi's gone. It already drew a card, which is going to end up being multiple cards. And there's Jace. I know 3 of the cards in hand. Hope the last one isn't Force of Will. Of course it is. And there's Jace. Now I lose. There's basically no recourse for this. My Ingress Rampage is in the graveyard, and it's not like I could have just saved it for Jace, because had Teferi already in play. So I am going to go for Underground Sea again. And here we go. Liliana time. I'm going to minus and get my Baleful Strix back. That's a way to draw 2 cards effectively off this Liliana. That I don't think that the Race to the Ultimate is my course through this game, or at least not the best one. Oh, there's Jeskai. Am I getting my Liliana bolted? Oh, it's getting exiled. Okay. Glad I drew a card off it at least. But yeah, this game 1 is now a huge crapshoot. Game 2, when I have Red Blast to clear things like Jace, it's going to get a lot more interesting, but right now it's just terrible for me. Here comes the Stoneforge. I have the Fatal Push for that. Got Umezawa's Jitte. Oh, I'm going to start with the Strix. See what I draw. Kolaghan's Command, not bad. Let's zap that. So Kolaghan's Command can clear out the Batterskull and deal 2 to Jace. Like if he lets me attack Jace for 1, then the Kolaghan's Command can finish it off. Another Stoneforge Mystic, probably going to pick up that same Jitte again. Yep, that's how Brainstorm works. Jitte's in play now. You're going to equip it too. Alright, so Thoughtseize. Spell Snare, that doesn't help. A little late for that one. Okay, so I want to know if my Kolaghan's Command resolves before I go after the Jace. So destroy target artifact and deal 2 to something. I'm going to destroy Umezawa's Jitte and deal 2 to Jace. At least that's my plan. Probably a Force over there. Yep, Force of Negation, exiling Snapcaster Mage. Real good stuff. I am going to hold back Baleful Strix to block. I want to at least trade with this Stoneforge Mystic if it's going to get in here. That was close. We were actually stable to ahead if that Kolaghan's command resolves despite multiple Jace activations. But obviously that wasn't going to happen. They have the plow for my bird, so now they can attack, which invalidates the next bird. Lightning Bolt's probably my best draw. But there's a good chance he just has Force of Will in hand for the hard cast. Right. Don't feel good about this, but it's at least a cantrip. It's literally not nothing. Hardcast Force of Will? Yep, you got it. I'm like a mind reader out here. I just say the name of the most horrific thing imaginable, and that's what they have. Jace sculpting again. What, the 5th activation of this card? Oh, hell no. That one's too good. Can't beat Squadron Hawk. Can't beat Umezawa's Jitte, or Batterskull or Jace either, but at least I can counter one of them. Equipping. So, Sudden Edict is pretty good here. Lightning Bolt is still good here too. Lightning Bolt, or +8. Yeah, Lightning Bolt's not enough. Cling to Dust, so I can cling one of their spells. I guess Prismatic Ending is as good as any other target. And Brainstorm for Lightning Bolt, Land, Sudden Edict. That's not any of the things I just described. Fetch and Brainstorm again for Sudden Edict. I guess I have to get Badlands and then Brainstorm off of the red. Alright, we're dead. Yeah, that turn where there was one mystery card and it turned out to be Force of Will, that was the end of the game. But then having the other force for the Kolaghan's command still had a chance to stabilize this game, but had the other force obviously because he'd been brainstorming for 3 turns already with Jace. Now the Red Blast come in, and the Turbo Cheese Jace becomes less likely. Needle, Null Rod, Red Blast. I don't think I want Engineered Explosives. Flusterstorm does appear to have text. He's got a bunch of prismatic endings in there. Plague Engineer. I should probably bring one in out of respect for True Name Nemesis. It's possible that that's in the deck. So Force of Negation, Force of Wills get a lot skinnier. I might be on 0 by the time we're done here, but I'm going to work through it first. Cling to Dust did not seem to have a whole lot of text. There might be Snapcasters in that deck. There also might not be. Liliana was not great. She basically drew 2 cards. This was Divination, though also got a Prismatic Ending, so it was like 3 mana 3 cards. Yeah, I've seen worse. I still want the Jace. I probably do want 1 force to dig for, just in case, which I think leaves Liliana as the worst card remaining in the deck. Alright, this is my plan. I don't think I want the Engineered Explosives. I guess that can clear out a Germ token for basically free, but I'm bringing in my Null Rod and Pithing Needle, which both line up poorly against Engineered Explosives. I will be on the play. I'm going to keep this hand full of cantrips. Just said in the chat that he hasn't had a Squadron Hawk spell snared in 10 years. Hell yeah. Show you his boss while you absolutely destroy me. I'll take these cards. Just fair magic here. Cantrips, doing stuff, trying to get ahead. I think I want to just play Baleful Strix off this basic land. I know I'm drawing another land here, but I didn't want to waste my fetch on Baleful Strix when I could save it for Brainstorm. Yeah, Aggro Pyroblast, that's fine. Not surprising. Like, that turns a 2-for-1 into a 1-for-1. Here comes Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, even worse. Oh wait, Squadron Hawk's in this deck. Good thing I brought in Plague Engineer. Should have brought in both. Whoops. Literally saw Squadron Hawk game 1, and I'm just like, there might be a True Name Nemesis. Well played, Brian. Alright, I'm gonna Brainstorm, try to set up a world where I can make sure that my Plague Engineer does what I want it to. What do I want? Double black, double blue. I think I put back Volcanic Island. Yeah, that gives me double black and double blue. Oh, here comes the hawk. Tutored up 2 additional hawks. So either already had one or didn't want to discard to hand size. Probably just hand size. So I think I want to get another island. I'm a little concerned about back to basics. There's a card that is very likely in this deck. Alright. Engineer the birds. Bird patrol. Please force of will this. Brainstorm, huh? I think I'm gonna beat up on this. Maybe I should have used Flusterstorm instead of Red Blast, because if he untaps and jams Jace, I'm gonna feel like a clown. Or if I'm gonna get Flusterstormed here. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't counter the Engineer. And by not Flusterstorming, I avoided trying to figure out how to resolve Flusterstorm, targeting Flusterstorm on Magic Online. This is insane value. Puts back the two Squadron Hawks that found with the first one, and then just infinite cards forever. Draw one of them, cast it, shuffle away. Was not able to shuffle that Brainstorm and didn't find the answer I was looking for. Did not shuffle the Ponder. And I have a Ponder of my own now. I'm going to cast that. Get the turn started with that. Then I do like this land, I do like this Brainstorm, and I like the additional Jace. So over the next several turns, I can Jace with Flusterstorm back up. If I lose the fight, second Jace. Also just jam Jace right now, but representing Pyroblast, I'm not going to shove into that. Teferi, huh? That's a good one. That messes up everything I just planned. I guess I can YOLO Brainstorm for a Red Blast here. I get to see one new card off of this thing. Did not... Oh, I did find a Red Blast. Cool. Alright, so put back Brainstorm and Jace. Then Snapcaster. So it was holding back a Red Blast the whole time. It'll still get me here. But at least that's one less Red Blast for the Jace that I'm going to ram next turn. He just bounced that. So Force of Will gets me because of Teferi. Jace, here it is. Resolved. Gonna draw 3. Oh, left the wrong land tapped, it seems. Or untapped. Flusterstorm and Jace don't really matter. Now let's see what damage can be done to me. This Teferi lets him do whatever he wants. I left open red, by the way, for Pyroblast to clear the Teferi, when the option was leaving open blue for a cantrip or black for a discard spell. Oh, got a Crucible. I love that card. Well, you got another one? Because I do. Here's Jace. Had the Force this time. Angler, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Delving is kind of tough in this matchup because you actually use basically everything in your graveyard except lands. Alright, I suspect that this blue-white control deck can find a way to answer a creature. But if not, we're going in. It is pretty big. Lightning Bolt, Red Blast. This Teferi's not big enough for it. He's got Jace and bounce it. Teferi plussed. Is this a second Teferi? Fetching first. Just casting Batterskull. Cool. Deal. How about Kolaghan's Command? Brainstorm. Alright, Fatal Push is not bad. So I Fatal Push the Germ. I get to attack with Gurmag Angler, maybe. So I'm going to put Flusterstorm on top, where I can shuffle it away or draw it, depending on how this turn goes. I actually don't think I want Flusterstorm anyway. Because look how much mana he has. Alright, so I'm going to fetch and play Baleful Strix. Still respecting back to basics at least a little bit. I should leave up him to Tarok mana. That's what I'm doing. That's a good card. Ponder. I can look for a Red Blast here, which protects me from a lot of the things that could go wrong. Alright, so I want to draw the lightning bolt, and then I can ponder into Angrath's Rampage if I need to next turn. Alright, I'm surprised we've stuck out this game this long. I felt like I was losing it a million different times. This Crucible is accumulating lots of long-term card advantage. Luckily, it doesn't have a Wasteland yet, or an Urza Saga, or like anything quite like that. There's Batterskull. Unfortunately, because of the Crucible, I can't make him sacrifice an artifact with Angrath's Rampage. I guess I can, though, right? Like, you want to lose your thing forever? Your Batterskull, or... Alright, so I can name creature and just ram in there. Or I can name artifact and get rid of the Crucible. Alright, I'm going for a ram in there. But it will just be back next turn. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I can... Okay, I have a plan. Alright, so red, black, sack a creature. Get rid of this germ. And then I can Plague Engineer, naming Phyrexian. And then Lightning Bolt the germ next turn. Pretty sure these are Phyrexians now. Yes. Oh, this is exciting. It's the first time I've gotten to do this. What? Oh, Phyrexian. There we go. Phyrexian. Nice. This has been a good match. I got to Spell Snare a Squadron Hawk, and I also got to Plague Engineer on Phyrexian. But now that lets them deploy the Squadron Hawks that have been building up in hand, but those don't stop the onslaught I'm currently presenting. Just reset that Batterskull, please. No. My Phyrexians. Okay, that wasn't even on bird. But that is scary. Yep. Get to load up this board now with birdos. And the top of my deck is Force of Will, which does not... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, that is pretty good. Like, I attack with my 2 creatures. You chump the Gurmag because it's lethal. Either trade or take 1 from Baleful Strix. Then I bolt the creature. You go to equip. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. If they can equip it twice, and it'll just depend on if he's out of lands or not. Yeah, that's rough. Alright. That's all the Squadron Hawks accounted for. Dead to Plague Engineer. I am making my attack, though. I hope he blocks both. Rooting for it. I do have Lightning Bolt plus Force of Will all on the hard cast right now. Oh, it's so awkward with the Scalding Tarn. If he plays the land out of the graveyard to equip twice, goes to 3. But, oh wait, yeah, it does have enough to equip twice. And played the land, so I'm gonna end up just a little short here. Maybe I should have left back the Baleful Strix. Cast like Counterspell. That would be great. Or Blue Blast. Just something to take him off 5 mana to re-equip would be great. This Crucible was the silent MVP this game. The fact that we're talking about like double equipping Batterskull is insane. Alright, a fetch just occurred. Snapcaster Mage targeting what? I probably just want to counter the Snapcaster Mage, right? Well, here we go. If you have a Fluster or a Red Blast, you're winning this stack anyway. Oh wow, alright. Thought he had a better line than just equip twice. I guess he's dead to any removal spell if he goes for equip twice, and that at least does other things. Or Prismatic ending my Baleful Strix. Oh yeah. Gurmag Angler ruling the sea and sky right now. Any removal spell for the win right now, please. Do I know the top of my deck? I don't think I do. Oh yeah, I did know that. Never mind. I knew that was there. Here we go. Got a chump, worked through the squad of Hawks. Keeping the Scalding Tarn in my hand because Brainstorm is my best draw. Now I'm hoping he just picks up and redeploys Batterskull. And we end up in life gain chumpy mode. Oh no. The Wasteland with the Crucible has assembled. I'm gonna represent blue. If I had a red spell, he'd be dead and he knows it. Okay. Alright. Moved. Oh, that was just emptying my mana pool, right? Yeah, obviously. Okay. Still deck. Any removal spell will do the trick for me. It's time. It's time. Oh, that's so close to being a card that's good. I'm not going to be able to get that Batterskull into the hand in a way where I can him it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What does attacking versus not attacking do for me? Alright, not attacking. I'm gonna not attack, because if I attack, it forces a block. And he goes to 7. And then... But if he wants to attack back, he'd go to 7, but it costs 8 mana to redeploy the Batterskull. Which I think is probably worth doing when you're dead to Lightning Bolt. But I don't know what's in the hand. Snapcaster Mage wins the game because I him to Turok the 2 cards and then Snap Bolt. Alright, not anymore. Found the attack with your lifelink creature line. Alright, so Stoneforge Mystic resolves. Is there a Cauldra in this deck? Am I dead to Cauldra? Oh god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Please just wait. Don't cast it. Pick up Batterskull. Oh, just equip Batterskull also makes a lot of sense. A lot more sense than picking it up. Oh, picked it up. And it's going to recast it, though. Well, the him gets to clear Cauldra, at least. I'll take that as a W. And it's about as good as him to Turok's going to get in this stage of the game. And I guess I'm just kind of stuck behind this thing till I draw Kolaghan's Command. Or he draws removal. Tapping mana, don't like it. Alright, yeah, that moves over. That makes the Batterskull a big enough creature that can actually attack. I'm not bluffing anything. There's no secrets here. The secret's been out for a long time, and it's removal spell or bust. And now he's at 12, so that's getting worse. Where were you when I needed you? Long ago. So I can snap Fatal Push and get some damage through. That doesn't help me long term. But I can't Kolaghan's Command this Batterskull either. Yeah, I think I just want to snap push and get damage moving. Like, I wouldn't fault anyone for snap Brainstorm there, but I'm being behind on board. Like, oh no. Right, that will probably break it open. Just having the counterspell there was bad. Wasteland's back. I do have an island left. I will double block and lose my angler here. No, I'll give it one more turn to draw a removal spell. I don't need to double block yet. It's not a lethal attack. Back up to 17. Kolaghan's Command? Nope. No chance. Alright, yeah, this one petered out. Got to hit all his land drops over there with Crucible while I didn't do anything. And it's basically like drawing an extra card every turn. Alright, this fetch is a little... I mean, it's fine. But it puts me to 5, which is a lethal attack from Stoneforge. I'm going to double block, lose my Gurmag Angler. Got a removal spell or bounce spell. I also lose my Snapcaster. So Kolaghan's Command, destroying Batterskull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got so much mana I can just replay it. And still... Oh no, can't repay. Alright, it's Kolaghan's Command right now. This is the time. This is my time, deck. Kolaghan's Command. I hate you, deck. That was it. That was the moment. Wasteland, take that out. Prismatic Ending, sure, I'm at 1. What cards can still possibly win this game? Jace, but they're both gone. Jace also isn't that good. Alright, GG's. Very good games, but destroyed. Yeah, outmuscled by Teferi. Teferi was part of it. Pyroblast was part of it. Yeah, so Teferi did not exist when Grixis control was good. Uro did not exist when Grixis control was good. Veil of Summer did not exist. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this league that didn't exist when this deck was good. And all of those games were close and competitive.
I don't think there was just an absolute branching that occurred, which you might think means something, and it does mean something, but it's not a good thing. So the playing a deck that's just like 49% against the field versus playing a deck that has some like 70-30s, like it makes more sense over the course of a long tournament to just play a 70-30 deck and take your losses where they come and just make sure you win your wins. But this match, like Grixis control is supposed to beat up on the blue-white decks because it has Pyroblast and discard spells, and we just lost to a blue-white deck. So that didn't pan out the way it was supposed to. Also, Uro being in the format, huge problem. We played really good Magic, or we played a lot of Magic. We made a lot of decisions. And at the end of the day, it didn't pay out as much as if we had just, cast Delver of Secrets and Chain Lightning. So this is still a deck you can play. All of these cards are still legal. And Sam, power to you. Do what makes you happy. But I cannot recommend Grixis Control in the current Legacy metagame. But here it is. This is the deck if you want to try it. You saw how interactive it is. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just sort of rambling at this point. This was a really long league because these games take forever and my brain is fried. So thank you, Sam, for submitting Grixis Control. I don't mind reminding myself why I don't like it once in a while. Everyone else, I hope you got something out of this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.